FutureReady NextForce Podcast is brought to you by Workforce Solutions Rural Capital Area, developing talent for employers by coaching Texans to employment.
Hello, and welcome to the FutureReady NextForce Podcast, brought to you by Workforce Solutions Rural Capital Area and sponsored by the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 520. Today we're going to talk about the Job Fair Con, Veterans Job Fair in July. Today I've got joining me is Isaac Marquez-Diaz and Keith Callands. Could you all please introduce yourselves and tell us what you do for the Texas Veterans Commission?
Sure. My name is Keith Callands. I'm a Veterans Career Advisor with the Texas Veterans Commission, and my primary role is to assist those veterans, military spouses, and transitioning service members with resume assistance, labor market information, interviewing skills, and especially using the job search site that's out there, specifically workintexas.com website, which is the primary source that we can assist them with when finding employment or opportunities within that website. And my primary role is just to make sure that they understand the dynamics of how to be gainfully employed in today's job market.
Okay, great.
And I'm Isaac Marquez-Diaz, with Veterans Employer Liaison with the Texas Veterans Commission, and my primary role is the other side, where I connect with the employers to make sure that I can make a connection with the veteran to the employer, make sure that the employers are successfully at recruiting, so that way if the employer is successful, that means that the veterans can successfully get hired from them, and making sure that the veterans have that connection and making sure that maybe they did the application correctly, do those type of events, job fairs and everything to make sure everybody in the community knows what's out there for them.
Well, this sounds like a great resource because the skill sets you learn in the military are tremendous, and then translating that into the workforce speak it can be challenging because I think a lot of people don't understand what the skills they have, how that works in a business world, a corporate world. So you all help them make that transition into understanding how to make that cut over. And then employers, I can't imagine a better employee than a veteran.
Yes. Majority of the time when the veterans come out of the military, they go through the TAPS program, which is the Transitioning Assistance Program. And sometimes they do that a year out or 2 years out, depending on their leadership roles. And they come out with that one basic resume that gives a lot of their military skills on that resume. However, just like you stated, when they transition out of the service into the civilian world, they're using that resume, but to some civilians, they don't understand a lot of that terminology. So that's where we come in on the outside through the Texas Veterans Commission to help them transition all of those skills into civilian understandable skills to make them more marketable in the job market.
Yeah, and that's where I come in, where I make sure that we train. It's kind of like a training for employers to make sure that they understand sometimes maybe the military lingo. We try to make sure that everything is out, but not every veteran comes to our assistance. So my side is to make sure the employers understand the military side and they don't lose a good candidate just because they don't understand some of the stuff that comes on their resume.
And we should say this is all free.
Yes.
There's no cost to the veterans
Correct.
or their employers. So this service is a great service for the Texas community, especially personally Central Texas, for our 9 counties. And we have Fort Hood just up the road, which I think is one of the largest Army bases in this country.
Yes, that is correct.
And then most of them exit out of that is incorrect. So
yes,
that's a great opportunity for our employers to reach some good candidates.
Yes, and the area is around Fort Hood. A lot of them, when they transition out, they want to move to the more high salary areas. So that's the reason why we have the Austin community and around those surrounding communities. So we have the Williamson County area, especially in Cedar Park, which I can see is growing. Yes. And so we look at that labor market information, and that's how we can assist the soldiers or those transitioning service members or just the military community in general to let them know what's around in the community. So, but yeah, that's our major responsibility.
And one of the fun facts about Texas now, Texas became the #1 state with the most veterans in the United States. And also Central Texas has the most density on veterans everywhere. So this is the labor market for veterans. So if a employer wants to hire a veteran, this is the area for it.
Where you want to go. And
yes.
With all the DoD work and everything else moving to this area, veterans are primed for those jobs because most of them already have been through some kind of security clearance.
And now not outing the Fort Hood community, and as you stated, the Department of Defense, DOD, they have a whole lot of contract positions with high salaries, and they try to capture those guys as soon as they come out with those skills. But it's the market, it's what's in demand, what's available, and so if it's not in Fort Hood, then they try to adjust out to the Austin community area because they're looking for that salary base. Because some of these guys are like 4 years or 6 years in, or even just like me, I'm a 22-year retired veteran, and so we're trying to still maintain that salary gap. Even if we receive our disabilities at the same time, disability compensation from the Veterans Affairs Office, but we still try to maintain that salary base. So that's why a lot of them try to stay around the Fort Hood community, the Austin, the Round Rock, the Cedar Park, the Georgetown, that community. And so we're more than welcome to let them know what's out there.
I know we're way off topic here, but
sorry.
No, I actually brought another question up because as you're exiting the military, you've had this one career and now you're a certain age and you may have some other responsibilities as families and things like that. And you're pretty much having to start over again.
Yes.
And that's got to be hard.
It is because their skill set is focused on that mentality of being in that job focused for about 4 to 6 years. So they have adapted to that. And then once they get out, they can't find that specific role. And so that's where we try to help them with all of the other programs like the Workforce Innovations Opportunities Act, to help them when they do transition out and they see a specific skill that they're interested in, but that need that certification or whatnot. That's where all of those, we try to introduce them with all of those other programs to let them know, hey, though you was doing this in the military, there is a school that we can send you to, or we can get assistance that we can have the workforce provide to help you understand if you go into this market, this is what you need so that you can understand it so that you can continue on with your lifestyle.
Is there, from an employer's perspective, is there something they need to know about hiring a veteran that would help them?
I mean, but from the employer perspective, it's just more like if you get a veteran, you get a really strict person that learned the hard way to earn things and to be disciplined in things. So that's one of those things that if you hire a veteran, you know, things will get done. Yeah. And you'll get a hard worker that can learn fast. Because when you're in the military, it doesn't matter your job, you need to learn everything you have fast, which from basic training to your training will going to like different trainings while you're in, even deployments, you're on the move and you need to learn things on the move all the time. So I think a veteran will go against those odds all the time. And
so it switch to the employer because the employer can say, here's a project, figure it out, and they're going to
Yes, I like to say that veterans become an asset for a company. We're not just a worker, we kind of become an asset for the company.
Yeah. I think one of the things that we learned in the military is planning, and we have an objective that we always want to accomplish. We want to get to that objective, and the way that we go about getting to that objective is we have a strategic plan that we like to set forth so that we have a primary and an alternate. So in case the primary doesn't work, we always have an alternate. So that's what you're getting from a military individual, that if you tell them or give them a project, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to do a quick risk assessment, but then they're going to do a plan to make sure that that goal gets accomplished. So that's what you're gaining from a military perspective or military.
This is great because I mean, obviously, highly respect the military, and I mean, I know they're very structured, and think that that's a skill set most people don't have.
True.
You know, they come into something, they're like, I don't know how to do it, so they just shut down. But here, you're going to have 2 options or 3 options. They're going to already have Plan B, C, and how to execute whatever that project is.
Yes.
And this is open. Texas Veteran Commission is open to any veteran. There's no time limit on when what's the time limit? It's like you're exiting and versus if you've been 3 to 4 years out. How can you still use services if you've been out a while?
Yes. We try to capture those as soon as they come out, so that they can understand this is what's expected now that you're on the civilian side of the world. But those are those transitioning service members. But through the Texas Veterans Commissions, like you said, I am a veteran, and I used the Texas Veterans Commission when I was coming out of a previous employer that I had been with 5 years on the civilian sector. And so when I went through the Texas Veterans Commission as a veteran, I was still able to use their resources based off of my character of discharge. For those who are dishonorably discharged, though Texas Veterans Commission cannot assist them, there are other nonprofit organizations that they might be able to go to that might be able to assist them.
Would you all be able to provide those resources to those individuals?
So me as a Veterans Career Advisor, I can only deal with those that have those qualified employment barriers. But if you go through the Workforce Solutions offices throughout the whole entire Texas community, that staff or those American Job Center staff should be fully aware of, depending on whatever nature you come inside of that center with, whether you are a civilian, a veteran, or someone that does not meet those veteran statutes or those military statutes, that Workforce Solutions office should still be able to assist you. And that's why we enjoy being incorporated with the Workforce Solutions, because though there might be something that we may not be able to assist them with, the Workforce Solutions staff still will be able to assist them no matter whatever their character of discharge is.
Well, let's turn over to the Job Fair Con that's coming up July 23rd. 22nd, sorry. Okay, 22nd at Kalahari. I remember that part.
Yes.
And Kalahari's been a great partner here with you all. So, Isaac, I know you kind of start spearheading this.
So you want to tell us about it?
So
what's going on?
the TVC Job Fair Con became something that I just wanted to create to make veterans more comfortable. I was one of those veterans that when I was out, I ended up unemployed for a little bit, and job fairs are stressful because you have all these employers. You're scared to talk to people because you don't know how. Sometimes all you knew before it was the military, and in the military that you get told what to do. This one is you have to go out there and go get it. So it was hard for me to in that part, and then even there were times that my family wanted to go with me and support me. So I wanted to create something that is family friendly and also kind of less stressful for the veterans. So it's more of like, I'm one of those guys that grew up with comics, so, and the Comic Cons around, that we have. So that's why it came out of that. And it's where employers, they come from me telling them to be more relaxed with the setup. Like they can come in dressed up if they want to as a superhero or something. Or the people, the job seekers coming in to get jobs, they can bring their family, the kids can get dressed up. They've, last couple of years, we had even the local Comic Cons show up with customs, giving kind of gifts to kids, the local Star Wars guys, and the mascots. And even this year, we're gonna be able to have like a small car show outside with mainly veterans bringing their classic cars and things like that. So if you're kind of struggling or it's too much stress for you, because we're gonna have over 200 employees there, you can literally walk out and check some classic cars to relax, and then when you kind of relax, you can go back in. Also, another thing is we're gonna have what I call the makeover row, which if you feel that you're not ready for a job fair to meet an employer, we will have people there. We'll have Indeed there to give you free resume reviews to make sure that your resume is where you want it, and if you want to get it printed out, we were not going to be able to have something to get it redone there, but the workforce will be like 5 minutes away where you can go back to the Workforce Solutions office in Round Rock to get maybe redo your resume, print it out, and come back. Then also we're going to have Sport Clips is supporting us with free haircuts for veterans. That in case, and then also an organization called Thriftish will be there for free professional clothing in case you need it, because we have those type of veterans that have maybe no money or time. They show up with no haircut and a jeans and a t-shirt. So if we see those type of veterans or just the community that just shows up, we let them know, like, we have these services for you. Even before they go see inside all the employers, we can get them ready for that, get them a haircut, get them some clothes so they can present themselves better for the employer.
So bottom line is no excuse why you can't come to this job fair, whether it be your presentation, your outfit, or even how to prep your resume. So we've covered all of those bases, as well as made it a relaxed job fair so that you can come in with your family and go through and see what organizations or what employers are there that fit your role, and be able to network and talk to the employers so that you can also learn how to market yourself as an employee so that you'll be able to hopefully secure employment.
So this is also open to the spouses of.
Yeah, so all our events are open to everyone. So everybody can come in, doesn't matter veteran or not, soldier, just member of the community. All our events are open to everyone because we want to make sure that everybody gets the chance to see all those resources, because you don't get to see over 200 employers just in one place where you can see as big name corporations or your local governments, the state departments. you don't really see them much together. So you need to take advantage of this point. If you don't have a job or you're just trying to get a better job, this is the opportunity for you to talk to employers, talk to recruiters, hire managers, because they already told me like there's at least 4 to 5 people going to these events, rotating with hire managers there. And this is your chance to get yourself out there to make sure they know you. And this is the best time because on job fairs, because that's how they remember you. Yeah. If they see you on a job fair, if the hire manager sees you on the job fair and then they meet you, then when you applied and then they remember your name, and then you might have a better chance because now the hire manager knows you in person and knows how your character and everything instead of just seeing a paper or seeing your application online.
Right. How do you need to pre-register? What is the process?
So we have a registration link. So it's in the workforce calendar on our Texas Veterans Commission calendar. It's on the flyer. So if you can scan the QR code, and then we'll get you just quick sign up, and then you can go there. If for some reason you cannot sign up, we can help you there. We'll have people there to help you sign up real quick so you can get inside.
So we will have that link in this podcast as well.
Great.
Now for employers, there is a registration place as well.
Yes, so we have more of a control environment on that one. So if there's an employer that would like to come to the event, they will have to contact one of our TVC members, and then they'll get to me, or if they already have the link or QR code, they can send it to them.
And then we'll put that down there. Are you capped out on employers?
No, I still have some spots open.
Right, we still need our employers, yes. So that's okay. We'll definitely can work you on that with the workforce team as business consultants. I'm sure probably helping in that area as well. So let's go to some questions that we have. Many people know that Texas Veterans Commission because of veterans benefits, but employment is a huge part of what you do. Can you explain your mission?
So our mission is to advocate, and I'll put it in a short kind of statement. Basically, our whole mission is to make sure we get veterans, military spouses, and transitioning service members job ready. That means that, as I stated earlier, to assist them with what's in the demand, what an employer is basically trying to focus on, but to have the knowledge through labor market information. To make sure they understand searching those specific job work sites, such as Work in Texas, LinkedIn careers, and some of those other more trustworthy job search websites, because we know there's a lot of spam websites that goes out. Helping them with understanding, tailoring their resumes. How do they go about do that? And I'm one of those ones that I want to teach them how to do their resume, because I don't want to physically do your resume yourself, because you don't learn anything and you don't learn how to adjust your resume. And I have a basic style resume that I says at the minimum this is what you need to have inside of that resume. But as well as if you are struggling with interviews, we help you with mock interviews, how to answer that, and you don't have to worry about, like we used to do in the military, sitting in a chair at a specific position, saying, yes, sir, and all that stuff. But we want to make you feel more relaxed, how to answer the appropriate question, because we know the most norm question is, tell me a little bit about yourself. What is that, basically what it is that the employers are asking. So that's in a short statement, is to make sure they understand what is needed to make them job ready. So that's our primary mission.
And one of the things is that we cannot promise, an interview or a job, but what we can promise is that we're going to try to get you the closest to that, so we can get you ready for the future. Because if we just give it, we're not a staffing agency that we have the job. So what we do is to make sure that you're successful for yourself, and then if you're working with us and then you apply to something, I can try to go advocate for you and the employer. But like I said, we cannot. The only thing that we can promise is that we're gonna try the best possible to get you ready, and then do what we can to talk to the employers on that.
And that's also included inside of our mission too, is not just to make sure you're job ready, but to also to advocate for a veteran to employers.
Yes. So it was when you mentioned having to set a certain way when you're, and I was not in the military, so obviously I don't have to set. You can tell, but it thought to me is like when you're in the military, it's a black and white answer. When you get into corporate, and we're more gray, and it's where feel good, and that I think could be a hard transition for someone to understand. So besides that, what other common challenges do our veterans face when they're coming back into the civilian workforce?
It's the adjustment from a very well structured organization into and I can give you an example. You can be in the military and you might mess up. You might get written up for it, but it's hard for you to get dismissed from the service because inside of the service, we will do our own corrective actions versus on the outside. If you mess up, you might be put on a probationary period, but then if you mess up again, that's it, you're out, cut and dry. So it's more of, for some veterans, it's more of, I have a job, but if it's not contracted and it's at will, because we're Texas, you can be let go for no apparent reason. So that can be a shell shock to a service member that's just coming out, because they're so used to, well, I did something wrong, or when I went through the board, I didn't answer a correction correctly. I didn't get promoted, but at the same time, they're still sustaining that contract because basically you're still staying in because we groom our own leaders. Right. But on the civilian sector, we know that, well, if you can't do it, there's about 4 or 5 other people that will be willing to do it. So you may not accept this salary, but I know this person over here will accept this salary. So it's a more structured in the organization of the military versus on the civilian side, that opportunity to be let go at any given moment.
And I think one of the challenges is also understanding how when you get out, you're understanding how to change everything from your military brain to change it to civilian. You're used to this, like he said, structured kind of way, or just you have a mission and you have your brothers to your left and your right, and we're all doing the same thing.
True.
And you come to a different side where it's just everybody's just so different, or it's just everything's different wherever you go.
Not always on the same side.
Yes, and you're used to it, and maybe sometimes you think you got this because the military, you always, there's always a way to get things done, which on the civilian side is just so much different, where you might think you have it, but you don't. That's why the TVC kind of comes in play, that we make sure that the veterans understand the changes, and maybe understanding that maybe a lot of people think because of your military job, you specifically need to do that when you get out, which sometimes, well, we forget. I was one of those veterans that forgot that I was on kind of combat side of it, more a scout, but I was just thinking like all I could do is like, police or firefighter or something like that. But I forget that leadership skills, and that's when I was one of those stories where TVC helped me understand and changing my resume and making sure I understood all the other skills that I had. I went to schools, leadership skills and other things that I had that a lot of people, a lot of veterans don't think about. They only think about the specific job they had.
And they're not looking at the full picture of what they accomplished. Yeah. That's a great tool to have, to let them step back from themselves and go, because you all can see it. And when you're in the middle of it, you don't always catch what's going on.
Yeah.
It's hard to do. Let's switch to our employers. And why should employers make hiring veterans a priority?
Well, like we mentioned before, they should make it a priority because, veterans have, already the skills to kind of get things done. Okay. Like, it might seem that, we come from a different world because of how we come in, but if you put a veteran on a mission, they'll make sure they accomplish it. Okay. So it's not like for veterans, and we talk for both of us, if you put us on a mission, we're gonna make sure that it gets done. And we're not gonna stop. It's like we don't get a no for an answer kind of thing. So we make sure that things get done. And it's not only that, it's also on the gritty side. And there's benefits for the employers, like, the work opportunity tax credit, where if you have veterans working for you, you can get a tax break. And also the TAP program with the bases, where before the soldiers get out, they can maybe, if you linked up with the TAP program, you can have soldiers training with you. So training to become your employees before they even get out from the service, and you don't have to worry about payment or anything because the military is going to be paying them while they're training with you. So that way, when they're out of the service, they can be job ready and be trained to start working right away.
Now, let's dive a little bit more into that TAP program, because I think a lot of people do not, especially employers, don't understand it fully, and then how to get engaged with it. And one question I did have is, so if you go through the TAP as exiting soldier,
yes,
are you do you have a job guaranteed with that company, or is it just a trial period and they can choose to hire you?
Yeah, they can choose to hire them, but the TAP program it's kind of a hard process to get into with them, because they want to make sure that it's not just a company trying to get free labor from soldiers when they're in that process. They want to make sure that, okay, you're going to be in our program, want to make sure you have jobs for, to our veterans. Doesn't mean that you have to hire them, but at least it's like, I'm training them because I have these positions open and I want to train them to possibly, if everything works out, at the end, they're going to end up in this position.
So do they work directly with the base, or do they work with DOD directly?
It's more directly with the base and with the actual TAP program from that specific base.
Okay. And if an employer is interested in doing that, would they reach out to you?
They can reach out to us so we can direct them to the right person, but it will be the TAP program personnel that helps them go through the process, and then if they qualified, they can get into the program.
Okay. Well, I mean, that sounds like a great program, especially where you know the amount of growth happening in this 9-county region, and I keep hearing numbers every day, and I'm like, well, if you just hooked up with them, you could have the quality pipeline that's coming straight to you, and and also it's kind of a one for the exiting military, because if it's not a good fit, you got your experience, got a skill set, but you're like, that company's not for me.
Yeah, so
which is good to know too.
It's like a win-win for both employers and soldiers, because they're learning a new trade. They're learning what's to be out there as well. And if it doesn't work out, at least, like you said, they have some type of training, they have something going on. But the main mission is to try to see if, by the end of it, they could have a job with that company.
And I may put you on the spot here. On average, how long does it take for an employer to be approved through the TAP program? Do you have any idea?
I do not have much of it. It just depends on their process and everything, and it might take longer, or it depends on the workload, but it doesn't take that long, but it's just a process that they have to do.
Okay, but it's fair.
I would just say this: if an employer wants to see about being incorporated inside of that program, go to the local Workforce Solutions office, because that's where we are embedded. We are embedded in almost all of the Workforce Solutions office throughout the whole entire state of Texas. Right. So if an employer wants to grab those service members prior to them coming out based off of their skill set, just go to your Workforce Solutions office, ask to speak with a local Veterans Employment Representative, which is a lever, such as my counterpart here.
I love all your acronyms.
Thank you. We're known for them. But that's your source of contact. Go to those American Job Centers, get in contact with those levers prior to those soldiers getting out. See what's available so that you can grab that mentality, that disciplined soldier, those leadership that has project management type of skills. And when you grab them, you're getting them fresh out of the military, just like with me. Because the first position I got coming out of the military, it was a leadership job. But based off of, I was going through the Texas Veterans Commission that I did not even know about until I went through the TAPS program. They showed me where to go, showed me how to transition all of my skill sets while I was still in the military. And then on the verge of getting out, I had an employer waiting for me based off of me going through that TAPS program, helping me with my resume, working with an outside employer on the civilian side of it. So when I transitioned out, probably took a week off, but I was just ready to go to work because I couldn't, I had that major pain effect of staying at the house. I couldn't do it. Yeah. But that helped me understand what was expected of me on the civilian side of the world. Did it take me a while to adjust? Yes, because I looked at someone and I'm like, oh my gosh, if you was in the military, you would get this and you would be able to do that. But it was going through the TAPS program to help me adjust from the military to civilian. So for all of the employers, go to your American Job Centers, talk to those Texas Veterans Commission advisors, get incorporated inside of that program so you can grab those soldiers as soon as they come out so that you can hurry up and fill that job lead.
And I think Keith brings up a good point that I think not only employers but job seekers and everybody, they should go to the job center, the American Job Centers, to see all the free services that there's out there. Like, I think a lot of people don't know that it's like how local employers sometimes, now being in a chamber is not required, but being in part of the chamber gives you a lot of things going on. Right. But it's the same thing with us. Mm-hmm. Like if you go to a workforce office, there's a lot of free resources, free events that people don't know. When I approach sometimes employers and I tell about what I do, I always ask me, I'm like, hey, so how much is that going to be? I'm like, there's no cost.
Yes.
We're not. Sometimes, I'm one of those guys that forgets. I'm too excited about telling them what I can do or what we can do that I forget that at the end, okay, free of cost. But, there's a lot of free of cost services for job seekers and employers out there that they just need to go to their workforce office and find out about them.
Let's go back to the job fair con, and what advice would you give employers to help them engage the exiting military?
I think the main point is to just, if somebody's looking at your table, you should try to approach first. Because we have situations before where my main goal is to train them that they need to be the ones approaching. Because, when you're unemployed, you're just scared. You don't know if you should talk to, you don't know if this employer is going to work out. So if you see somebody just looking at your direction, you should be the one approaching. Which last year, more likely we're not going to be able to do this year because we have more than enough spots. But last year, the previous years, we had something called the roaming employer, which it was you didn't have a table, but you were roaming around. And if you see somebody lost, you just approach them and be like, hey, this is so-and-so from this company. This is what we offer. Do you think you might fit? So this is the main goal of it. And I think the previous years, those roaming employers actually hire people from that because you're reaching out to them. You're not waiting for them to come to your table, because I think a lot of things that happen that we also try to tell our veterans is that don't just look at the name of the company. Stop at every single table. I even had a job fair where I made everybody go to every single table.
Yes.
And a lot of them liked it because they actually didn't miss some of the opportunities. And I think a lot of people think of, I want to see a big company. I want to go to like Samsung, Tesla, something like that. But they forget about all the other employers that will have that something with you. And like Kalahari being our partner I use them as an example all the time, because I tell people like, hey, well, have you thought about Kalahari? And they're like, well, no, I don't want to clean rooms or work in the water park. Well, Kalahari is a brand. They have more. They have accounting. They have IT, administrative,
IT,
everything.
Mechanical.
So nowadays, every company will have something like that, and people forget about that. And mainly with state agencies, I like to do something called Employer Showcase, because it's showing them, giving a presentation of what they do. It's like another example I gave is the comptroller's office. People don't know what the comptroller's office does. So this is one of the things that I want to make sure that in this type of things, the employers are the ones reaching out to the people instead of that. And one of the other fun things with these job fairs is that everybody's going to get a different color bracelet that means different things. Veterans will get a color bracelet. Their families a different one. Transgender soldiers also get the same as veterans. And also employers get a type of bracelet so they know who's an employer. And also whoever is an employer that is a veteran get that same color bracelet as other veterans, so so you can see who's a veteran with the employer and you feel more comfortable talking to them. Right. Or also the employers can see who their people who they're talking to is there, because also the general public is not to go against it, because we know our main goal is our veterans, but we have these the bracelets to make sure that employers and people attending know who they're talking to.
I love that idea. It's a great idea. I know I'm looking forward to coming by and stopping by. Last year was a lot of fun. Actually, I think I was startled by the Star Wars people because I turned the corner.
Yes, and you saw Darth Vader and the Stormtrooper.
I need to get my lightsaber. So what do you all do to help the veterans be on the job search? Or support them? And I know we do the resume writing and stuff like that, but there's a lot of other things that go in.
Right. So I can give you a primary example, because I had a veteran that is he's looking for something specific, and I basically put him on an employment plan to make sure he understands those 4 goals. And then after that, after he understood how to accomplish those 4 goals, I did a follow-up with him. And then after I completed the follow-up, I make sure that I contact him afterwards and says, hey, how's everything going on? Do you need any other additional assistance? And he continues to look for something because he has some specific educational role that he's trying to pursue. And some are like that. You can't, I can't push them away. Go to this career because you have those skill sets. No, I'm still focused on this. But he comes inside of the work center. I sit there and I talk to him. How's everything going? Do you still need any other understanding of this? Sometimes they see something else inside of Work in Texas because Work in Texas is so huge with a bunch of information in it. And he stumbles across something. But at the same time, I continue to speak with him. If he has questions, I try to make him understand that. I still do every once in a while, I do a one-on-one with him. But we want to provide that support to let him know that I have some place to go and I can talk to someone free of charge that will provide me with the information that I need to help me better understand something. So I know he's going to get what he's looking for, but at the same time, that continued support, that brother and sister continued support, because we're there for you. We know what you're going through, but we want to make sure you understand, hey, you're not left out there. But even if you want to go to school, have you tried going through our Veterans Readiness and Educations program for veterans? Had you contacted Texas Veterans Commission Education Department? Are you thinking about being your own boss? Have you thought about going through some of these entrepreneurship events that they may have, so that you can see this is other things that's out there? So even if they talk to us and leave, we still follow up with them. As long as they stay incorporated inside of Work in Texas, they keep logging into that. I pull the report, send all kinds of information to thousands of veterans to let them know, hey, this is what's going on inside of the community. So it doesn't just stop with you coming inside of the center, talking to us or talking to anyone and then leaving. As long as you're logging into Work in Texas, I'm still pushing information out to you to let you know what's going on, what's available inside of our local community.
I'll also, on my side, whenever we're doing, he has a veteran that he's getting helped out. I don't work directly with the veteran, but we do something called case conference.
Yes.
Whenever they become job ready, which is whenever we both of them talk to the veteran and talk about what they're looking for. So he already talked to me before that, but it's like a talk with the veteran to be more realistic on my side of the picture, telling them like, look, I understand this is what you're looking for. Whatever market they're looking, some of them, the veterans are looking for a hard market to get to. So I explained it to them. This is what, if you're trying to get this range of money, but this is how much realistically is for, or this is the jobs. I can actually talk to them. Maybe I already have some jobs ready for them to see. This is it's out there, and maybe more realistic of like, what if this doesn't work out? What's your low pay rate that you will take, or what is an alternative kind of position that you will take related to your career, so you can stay in the same career path, but it's just something a little bit different that you can still earn some money and some experience, so you can get to that point. And that's where Keith comes in with the resources, schools, and everything. If a veteran is not ready for that, or it needs a little bit more than what they're trying to look for, they have those resources to go to schools, to get certifications, but also on my side, making sure that they understand the kind of the market the market and everything that they're trying to get into.
I love that it's just a full wraparound service, basically, because you're saying, I want to do X, but the market's not taking X right now. Not saying X won't show back up.
Exactly.
But let's get you in the door, get you working into that company that potentially could do X, and then you can go and build your career.
And a lot of them don't understand that when they, and we hear this a lot, when they see you working with them and see what you do, and they know, well, I have those skill sets too. And the first thing they ask is, well, how can I do your job? Well, unfortunately, it's not open because I'm filling it, but I'm still here. But to understand, you have to make sure they understand. That's the reason why we research labor market information, so that in this geographical area, this is what's being paid based off of Department of Labor. If this is something that you want to accept, you may have to lower your value about 10 to 20% because you're trying to get your foot inside of the door. But if you have those skills and you have those opportunities and you have those tools and resources, make sure it states that on your resume, because you may not be able to get my job here, but who's to say there's something else someplace else? Are you willing to go to another location? If so, this is what this is paying in this location. What is your low ball? Just like Isaac said, things you will not go below. This is your low ball salary, so that you know how to negotiate that. But at the same time, again, it's if that is not available, maybe there's something else that you can do in the time being until that opportunity comes available. Get this, but you're still not stopping your job search. Right. You still can continue to search until you find your niche. Exactly. You're building your skills. At that time, if you want to go to school, get that job, get that source of income, use it to go to school, get that certification so that you can transition into the role that you're trying to pursue.
I think that, you just touched on me. You said negotiations for salary, and I'm ignorant here. I'm assuming you don't negotiate your salary in the military.
No. But you told what you did. Yeah, because like I said, we're on a set in the military. We're on a set space scale, but that's the reason why. Again, it's the same thing. It's just a different way of looking at it in the military versus in the civilian sector. You still have to increase your skills and tools in your bio through your performance evaluations. When you go to that job interview, that's that promotion board, whether it be in the Army, in the Air Force, whatever the branch is. But that's your interview. You're going to that interview to see if you can get that next promotion so that you can get that next paying high salary, get into that higher leadership position so that you can start yelling at people and not have them yell at you no more.
So when you're talking about a job posting with a veteran, how are you helping them to understand the civilian terms and picking out those key things in the job posting that their skill set matches up and how they can address that?
That's a very good question. A lot of them are using one resume. And they say, this is my resume, this is what I can do. But then when I have them look at the job description, and the first thing I tell them is, you're trying to sell yourself to an employer to make an employer look at you. How can you go about doing that? Well, the job description is telling you what it is that they're looking for. So if they're giving you their marketing pitch, why don't you put those skills, those keywords, those key statements, your professional summary, highlight that with the employer's name, with the job that they're looking for. Why don't you put that into the resume so that when it goes through that application tracking system, ATS, gotta love them. So that once you get past that ATS and they look at then that hiring portion pulls your resume and looks at it, they're going to say, flip it, 5 to 10 seconds. Oh, this is what I'm looking for. Let's look more. Oh, they got all of the skills. They got all the tools. They got all the stuff, exactly what's in the job description that the employer told you about. Then that's how you get to the interview. So the job description is so important because it lays the foundation of what you need to state in your resume to make you more marketable.
I just did a podcast a few weeks ago with a different group, and we were talking about the same thing. And then also what I call playing the LinkedIn game.
Yes.
Yeah. It's there, and that building that network is key. So, really encouraging, if you're interested in industry, get involved in the industry sector groups that are out there. Chambers.
Yes.
Economic development, any kind of group that you can get in and meet those people, because, you can hand your resume off to somebody.
True.
And that does help get you another look as well. Because I know at the Workforce Center we have a LinkedIn class that you can do virtually, and that helps you play that game because it's real.
Yes,
for sure. So you really want to make sure your LinkedIn profile and all your socials clean and up to date.
And I do know through our Workforce Solutions Center in the Williamson County at Round Rock, I know that we have a calendar, both an analog one that we can hand out, one that's in Work in Texas that you can research, one that's through the Workforce Solutions website, which also includes all of our TVC related events. So we give those resources to our veteran community to let them know these are free events that you do not have to pay for. You have a free resume class, you have a free LinkedIn class, you have a job interview class. You have all of this stuff that's free. And I think the majority of them are virtual. So that's very accommodating for those that, okay, I'm kind of limited on gas right now. I'm limited on transportation. So we meet those accommodations. And you have all of those resources right there on a calendar that I can just give to you and says, anyone that you want to go to the Workforce Solutions website, register, you're in. So perfect.
Pretty easy to do.
Pretty easy to do.
So I think that puts us, as we're coming up on the job fair, and as our veterans and other job seekers are coming into the event, what do they need to do to prepare to be ready to go into this event?
Well, they will need to check, their resume, or making sure that they see what industry they're trying to get into, or see if they register. I'll be I'm sending out the list of employers. So it's not like keeping it secret, but if you register, you're getting that list of employers, so you can get more prepared. And if there's a specific company that you want to get into, look at their jobs. Then, like Keith said, look at that job description and then adjust your resume to that job description.
So probably have multiple resumes.
Yes.
And
So
code it, make it sure by the business so you don't give it the wrong way.
Yes. So do not be afraid of having like 100 resumes. I met a veteran that had over 100 resumes because if you really want to get that job, you want to tailor your resume to what they're talking about, using the wordage and the how that company uses words, because sometimes an example I always give, an instructor or a teacher I had in college, he always talked about how systems back in the day, he didn't get a job because his resume said he was a teacher and his teaching experience, but they always said as an instructor. Oh, we need an instructor and we need someone that is instructing. It's the same thing, teaching and instructing, but sometimes systems don't match. Yes, or some universities like to use instructing. Oh, we don't teach, we instruct people. So this is one of those things. Yes, you need to see the culture of that company, what maybe news, what they're doing at the moment, so you have a little more culture-based knowledge on what that company is doing. So whenever you talk to that hiring manager or recruiter there, they see that you have world knowledge and you're really interested on that company, so that way it gives you a bigger chance. Like I said, job fairs is the best thing to kind of get with people or know people that to help you get to successful to your getting a job, because if you just keep doing the applications, the only way that people see you is by, an application or a paper. But if you go out there and talk to them and let them know how passionate you could be from a position, then they'll put you, maybe they see you the next time on the application, they put you first on the list, and like, let's put him or her on the front of the list because we met about the job fair and I think they should be working for the company.
And if I can add on to just go into that question, when you come to the job fair, be willing to talk to almost all of the employers that's there.
Yes.
We're living in a digital world. Make sure if you have a dozen resumes, it does not hurt. Bring your phone. Have your resume available on your phone, because if you go talk to an employer, they might say, well, email me your resume. Mm-hmm. So have your resume available on a digital platform. Yep. Have that ready. Dress appropriately. If for some strange reason you don't dress appropriately, we can groom you. Mm-hmm. We can give you free business attire. We can also help you prep with your interview, with your resumes. So just be prepared to come and look for a job. And a majority of the time, you can get hired at the job. Because I think the first one we did 3 years ago, we had Indeed there. And Indeed hired some people at the job fair. Yeah.
Yes.
So, don't quote me on that, but I think some of the other department, I think some of the city, those city employers, job fairs are an opportunity to get hired. Yes. Just go for that goal. I'm going to a job fair to get hired. Mm-hmm. That's the goal that you need to have when you put that in your mind. Yeah. And my resume is going to get me hired today.
For the past events that we at least had around 50 people that got hired on the spot. Wow. And not every employer kind of reports a lot of it because there's a lot of going on. But I know at least around 50 people in each one of those events prior got jobs that day. And then within the next couple of weeks, some of them reported more people getting hired. So at least an extra 100 to 150 people got hired due to that job fair. And we had experience with the veterans that told us that even work for the state now. Mm-hmm. And we actually had not long ago an interview that will show up soon, like this podcast, that we had a follow story of a veteran that went to the job fair, loved it, how the setup and everything, and now been working for the state since then.
Awesome. I had two questions before I quit. So we're talking about professional dress. What would be your suggestion on professional? I mean, there's so many different ways to professionally dress right now.
Professional casual.
Okay.
Okay.
So get some ideas about that, because people are like, what does that mean?
So the polo shirt, or like I have on a white shirt that's button white shirt. I can have no tie. Mm-hmm. Slacks.
Jacket. You don't have to have a jacket.
You don't necessarily have to have a jacket, but it's if you want to wear a jacket, you can. But no jeans, no T-shirts with inappropriate writing across the front of the T-shirt. Nothing ripped. Try to come groomed. Because your first appearance is a lasting appearance. You always have to think that. So if you're talking to someone, you want to be in your best presentation. So dress pants, khakis, polo shirt. What else? If you want to wear a tie, you can wear a tie.
It's whatever you feel comfortable with. There.
Yes, we want you to be comfortable, business casual, business professional, because you also have to keep that in mind. Your first impression is the last impression.
And I'm going to speak on the women's side, because you probably all don't like to speak on the women's side.
We do.
But dress pants,
Yes.
nice blouse, not revealing.
Yes.
Kalahari is huge. If you've ever walked the facility, so it's okay to wear flats or have tennis shoes.
Flats.
And then switch to flats in your you can always bring them, because it is a long parking lot. And
We don't recommend heels because it's a big event.
It's a huge event.
And you pretty much be walking all day long. Yes, dress, or they have the slacks that they can wear. The button-up polo, the blouse type shirts. None of the, what do they call it, the strings with the
spaghetti straps?
The spaghetti straps, I
would really kind of cautious against sleeveless unless you've got a jacket or a sweater on.
Yes.
It's also cold in there.
Yes,
It's
it will be cold.
Very cold in there, so be aware of that.
We're trying to make it comfortable, so that when everyone comes in, we don't want you to sweat or anything like that. So that's the reason why it's a comfortable environment.
It is.
But at the same time, we want you to put on your best dress, because it's just like you're going to an interview at a job fair. So when we do our workshops, that's how we tell everyone, you want to present yourself as if you're going to an interview, and you want to be able to practice your elevator pitch. Okay?
Right.
Even if someone asks you, says, well, what is you looking for? Give them your elevator pitch. That will basically set you up for, okay, well, give me your resume. Give me your resume. I'm gonna copy your information down, and then says, okay, give me a business card, and who am I speaking with? Is this your direct email? If it says yes, after the job fair is over, email them. It says, hey, just thank you for talking to me. I am available through these hours, or I'm just waiting for you to contact me. Again, I'm going to attach my digital resume just in case, so that you can look over my skills and my tools, so that we can better associate with each other later down the road. Thank you for talking to me, and I'm looking forward to speaking with you.
Yeah, that follow-up is crucial. I would say
key.
within the first 24 hours after
Yes.
the event.
Yes.
I know life happens and things, but if
It
you
does.
could knock some time out. And then for elevators pitch, a lot of us who've been around a long time had that. But if you're fairly new to it, what I would suggest is take your resume, put it in ChatGPT or whatever AI you love, and tell them to give you a 2 or 3 sentence elevator pitch. And that way, something that you feel you may have to rework it to your talk, but at least get you started.
Yes.
And make sure that you're, like I would say, the closest to business professional and having that ready, because sometimes you don't know who you're going to meet in those job fairs, because some smaller companies, like even the owners show up. So I have some owners from companies and everything that have showed up, and they're the ones they're recruiting. It's like they might not really have much recruiters or high managers. There's the owners of the company that will be there, so you will meet them. You will meet the managers and the people that you'll be working with. So that first impression, it just says it all.
And I want to touch on that because I know we have some very large companies in this region, and they get the big names. But really, sometimes the best jobs are at those smaller companies. And you're going to have a lot more opportunities to learn different skill sets and things. So don't go buy those tables if you just don't know the company. Like you said, stop by every table. They all have opportunities. You said we all have IT, we all have HR, everything's all there. They may not do the product they make, but
they may be contracted.
It may be contracted. Who knows? But it's not going to hurt you to make another connection.
Don't look at the name. Look at where are you at now. What do you need to sustain your lifestyle? At the same time, you can research the company. That's the reason why we have LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the business Facebook. So you want to research a company, but don't just look at the company themselves as, I want to go work at Tesla, or I want to go work at Samsung. Well, here's another private business over here that does the exact same thing, pays exactly what it is that you're looking for, that has the same skill set. So this company over here that's under the radar, 5% may be able to get in, versus 5% personnel that's applying for this position, versus 30 to 40% of personnel is applying for this position. you have a much more harder time trying to get with those that are looking for more people than this one down here that might need, I'm trying to fill this slot today. You go to the job fair, give them your resume, a visual line, be like, okay, I can see the skills that you have. Can you come talk to me next week? So
that's great. I always all those big companies have suppliers.
Yes.
So and
they network.
They need to work. What is one piece of advice you'd give to someone who's nervous going into this job fair?
Just mainly don't think about it. Just be ready. Make sure you're ready. Have things like that. And like I said, if you're not ready, we'll have people there to help you. And even our staff will, if we pinpoint somebody that might not look ready or nervous, we walk up and talk to them because we know it's stressful. Last year I had a veteran with a baby. The wife was working and they were struggling, and he was the one that literally contacted us and said, can I bring the babies? I'm like, it's one of these events that you can bring anyone you want. We had other veterans that brought father-in-laws and their own parents, kids, grandkids. It just doesn't matter who you bring. We want to make sure that you're successful, and the employers know that if you bring anybody with your family, your whole family could be there, but they know that's not going to be a restriction from you getting to that position or being ready for that job. So
just relax.
Yeah, just need to relax, and if you're not there, like I said, we'll have some areas for you to relax. We even had the local childcare and YMCA are going to be there for some activities for kids and things, and you have questions about their programs, you can ask that too. And if both parents show up and maybe both of them need jobs, one of them can be taking care of the kids there while the other one goes job hunting. Yeah,
that sounds. I mean, it's a full support. This event's going to be, and it's all we do this year long, so all this support. But if you're a veteran and you're wanting to go to this job fair, go ahead and reach out. Well, of course, all the information will be there, but we can start prepping you now for this event.
Yes.
Get that elevator pitch. Practice your elevator pitch in front of the mirror so you know it and you feel confident saying it, so you just spit it out really quickly and, have those resumes ready. But this team is available to help you. I want to thank you both for your service.
Thank you for having us.
Really
appreciate it.
Keeping our country free is, very important, and I appreciate what you've done. Is there anything else you would like for the community to know about the Veterans Commission, the job fair, or anything else?
Just again, we're in almost every workforce solutions office. We want to make sure that if you just don't be scared to come in to talk to us. A lot of times people call me over the phone or they email me. I like to talk to people face to face. So that they can know that they have someone that's been in their shoes. They understand what they're going through. But at the same time, come to all of our events, the employer showcases, the workshops, the job fairs. And if you get that information, come to them. If you need transportation, call your local Workforce Solutions office. See what type of transportation is available in that area. We want to get you hired. We want to get you back inside of the work environment, especially for our military brothers and sisters, the military community. You're transitioning out. How do you speak to people? Come talk to us. We're here to help to make that transition out of the service, to get you back inside of the job. But at the same time, you got to be focused. You got to be disciplined. So come in with an attitude of how can I become better at making myself more employable. So just come out and let us help you get you back inside of the work environment. That's the goal.
I think the best thing about us is that we're open to just anything. Like we're like on the veteran side, we're like a brotherhood. So don't be afraid. I think mainly veterans, sometimes we're afraid to ask for assistance or help. So don't be afraid to ask for assistance in any side. If you're having maybe a moment, you can come talk to one of us and anything. So it's just mainly in the community that we're here to help you. And we're one of sometimes the veterans are the most stubborn guys that are like, I don't need assistance, I'm fine. But don't be afraid to come to us. It doesn't matter if you're a veteran or not. We're gonna be there to help you. We're gonna be there if you have questions and everything, because there's times that you just think you got it, but you don't, and don't be afraid to just come talk to us.
And then on the employer side, you're available to help them engage with the veteran community, kind of educate them on how it is to work with veterans and the expectations and things like that.
Yes, if you're an employer and you're struggling with hiring because there's new changes. I think one of the main changes that I don't really like nowadays is that employers haven't been putting the pay on their positions. I'm kind of 100% against it. It's their role, because I know there's some employers have been telling me that they have less people applying. I'm like, well, there's a reason. I don't think mainly veterans are not just going to go full force on a job or a company if they don't really know how much they're going to gain or how much they're going to get paid, because we still have families to take care of. And the main thing is, if something is not working out, you can come talk to one of us and we can kind of pinpoint what might be going on. If it's your job descriptions, if it's something else going on, or you just need to get yourself more out there, do more marketing, more events, so we can help you with that.
Okay. So lots of opportunities for those our job seekers and employers with our Veterans Commission. Thank you so much for joining us today. And we will drop all the links into this site below the screen. And if you ever need anything from Workforce Solutions, please reach out to us. We're here to support you. Thank you.
The FutureReady NextForce Podcast is brought to you by Workforce Solutions Rural Capital Area, developing talent for employers by coaching Texans to employment.